to start a little series or a segment for my stories that I have with my psychic abilities or my spiritual abilities. I grew up that way. I have it in me. It's stored. It's in my soul. I walk with it every day. I always have had the craziest synchronicities, craziest alignment stories, lucid dreaming. I do it all the time, and I think it would be fun to tell you guys what type of stories I deal with, and one that just happened recently. Birthday, my mom got me a crystal bracelet and a crystal earrings. Look at how pretty they are. This is Amazonite. So the story goes, I was dealing with a lot of stressful things, I would say 3 days ago. And I felt like I was kind of reflecting on my life, things that I wish were differently or things that I want for myself. I vented to my mom and I was crying to her, and she was like, "Did you wear your bracelet today?" I'm like, "No, I was running late to work a little bit, so no, I didn't grab it." She was like, "Oh." So she kind of got like offended, and I was like, "Girl, I'll wear it tomorrow." After that night, when I talked to her the next day, I put on the bracelet. I didn't put on the earrings, but the bracelet. I got an Uber to work. Immediately, there was this woman, this older woman. She was so pretty. She had like a style to her. She had a tattoo on the back of her neck. I don't know if it was some symbol for, I think, religious or something positive. She was just talking to me about the air, if the air was cool in the car. I was like, "Yeah, it's fine, thank you. I like cool air. I don't like the hot, so this is perfect." She's like, "Oh, you're just like my daughter. Are you a Sagittarius?" And I was like, "No, I'm a Gemini." So she brought up astrology all on her own. I thought that was pretty interesting considering the fact that I just put on my bracelet and she brought it up. I didn't. So I was like, "No, I'm a Gemini." She was just going on and on about how Geminis are the best, all this stuff. I was like, "Yes, thank you," because we get a bad rap. And then she started going into like her life story and how she met the love of her life and all of these things. It resonated with me. I enjoy being single, but I do want a partner someday, and I would love to have somebody to build a life with. So going over where and how she met her husband. She was an actor at the time, and she lived in New York. In the middle of that conversation, I get a phone call from New York, like a spam call. And I told her immediately, I was like, "You just told me you're from New York, and I put on this bracelet and I get a New York call." And we were just like, "Oh my God, that's so crazy." So her energy and aura was just like feeding such a high vibration, a high positive, like empowerment. I felt like I was friends with her immediately, and I don't like talking in my Uber rides. I like to have my headphones in. This is where stuff gets a little crazy. She goes on to say that the way that she met her husband, they ended up being together, and she wanted a child with him because she was getting older. She's like, "Well, do you want a kid? Because I don't want to have a kid, but if you want one, now's the time." At the time that they were trying, she was working, and then she had to go to a business trip in Japan. They went to a place where it was like this big wall, forbidden something. She stood under this fertility tree, but she took a pregnancy test and she found out she was pregnant. I try to do as much research on my crystals to know what they do, what kind of energy they bring, and all the protection that they bring. This crystal book, The Power of Crystal Encyclopedia, is so amazing. Well, since I didn't know much about this crystal, since my mom gave it to me, I'm like, let me figure out what the properties of this crystal does. The harnessing of the power of this crystal is friendship. So when I was in the car, I was like, she feels like my friend. The backstory of this crystal is so crazy. A tribe of women who were warriors who worshipped Artemis, where it gets even more crazy. This Amazonite helps assist women who have been unable to have children and redirects their nurturing abilities, encourages independence while drawing supportive friends to you. Like when stuff like that happens, of synchronicities or alignments, when you meet another person that you were meant to meet, it's such a beautiful experience. I have so many stories like that, so I hope this story was fun to listen to. I can do more of these. I think they're fun to do my little psychic stories, so yeah.